praise you for your grace and your mercy, your love for us. We thank you for that. Father, we ask that you also be with this country and many countries within the world. This time of conflagration and conflict, help people exercise good judgment, make wise decisions. Father, be with all of them, encourage them in the decisions that they have to make, in the action they have to take. Nothing would be impetuous, but all that would be well thought out. Father, we ask you to be with us now today as we take up matters before the board concerning our individual cities and our collective cities. Help us to work collaboratively and cooperatively in that process for the good of those that we represent. And we ask all these things, Father, in your holy name, and we glorify you and honor you in all that we do and how we comport ourselves with others. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Jack. Y'all turn and face the American flag. We'll have the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee,
Texas.
one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. We're on agenda item number 3, which is public comment, and I have one request here, and I think Mr. Jack, you want to introduce this person to us?
I sure do. Public comment. My mayor, the mayor of Avenger, Jeff Patterson, joined us here this morning. Wanted to, those of you that haven't met him yet, he's arguably the best mayor of the 7 members, all 7 member cities. And I am not the least bit biased. Jeff?
Thank you, Jack. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak this morning. I'm here on a positive note.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
There's been too much negativity. I just want to let the board know that every citizen has a right to public comment. They have the right to say. And one person's individual comment doesn't necessarily mean the whole is agreeing. But still, they're all entitled to their own opinion. Now, I want to make it known to y'all that I've been involved with the politics of Avenger for about 12, 15 years. Sitting on the council and then elected as mayor. I've never had a problem with the service that we got from the board. I apologize that I haven't taken the time to come to your meetings more often. But like I said, on a public note and a private note, I've known Mr. Simon for many, many years. And I trust his judgment, and I hope the rest of the cities trust their board members' representatives' opinion also. I don't think Jack has ever hid anything from us that I know. I've known him for many, many years. I've known all my council members for many years. But I'm ready to get past the negativity and go back to the positive. And I hope that this board makes the right decisions concerning the water, the cities themselves. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that the water board helps the cities a lot more than they realize. And I just want you to know that Avenger appreciates it. If I've ever had a problem, I make contact, it got solved. And I want to continue to be that way. So I just want to say on a positive note, thank you for all that you do for the cities. I know I appreciate it. My board, my council appreciates it. And that is all I've got to say.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, Jeff.
Appreciate your comments. All right, very good. All right, we're going to move to item agenda number 4, administer oath of office to directors, and we have one new director today from Dangerfield, Miss Laura Mabry. Maybe, okay. And also reappointed Patrick Smith from Pittsburgh. Miss Osiris is going to take care of that.
To the oath of office. Do each one of you individually. You will stand up and raise your right hand and read your oath. You want to go first, Ms. Laura?
I, Laura Mabry, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Director of Northeast Texas Municipal Water District of the state of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. Furthermore, I solemnly swear or affirm that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, or promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or any valuable thing, or promised any public office or employment as a reward to secure my appointment or the confirmation thereof. So help me God.
You'll sign it. She'll notarize it.
I'm gonna, everything she said except for the name Patrick Smith.
That's a ditto, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Very good. Thank y'all. Thank you, Ms. Osiris, for doing that. And we'll move to item agenda, and while we're on that, just real quickly, I think most people know, we have a new board member from Lone Star, Dennis Hammonds. He's not with us today, on a cruise, I think is what I heard, but he will be here next month, and probably between now and next month, we'll get him to come to the office, and Ms. Osiris can do his oath before the next meeting. So we'll take care of that. Item agenda number 5. Oh, yes, excuse me. Election of board officers for the next year, 25-26, and entertain a motion for that.
Make that motion, please. I'd like to move that we extend the office of president for another year to Jimmy Cox, the office of vice president to Mr. Jack Salmon for another year, and that Laura Mabry fill the unexpired term of Stan for the following year as secretary treasurer.
Okay. All right, I've got a motion to extend for 1 year Jimmy Cox as president of the board, Jack Salmon as vice president of the board, and Laura Mabry? Maybe. Why did I want to say that wrong? Laura Mabry as our incoming board member from Dangerfield as the board secretary. I'll entertain a second.
I'll second.
I got a second and a motion. All those supporting the motion for those officers in this cycle of 25-26, signify by raising your right hand. All right. That is unanimous, okay? Okay. Let's move to item agenda number 5.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of previous month's meeting.
Got a motion by Jack, second by George. All those supporting the motion to approve the minutes as presented from the May 27th, 2025 meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item agenda number 6. Consideration action of monthly investment report, financial reports of all current accounts and funds, authorization to pay invoices for memberships and professional services. Ms. Osiris. Yeah.
The investment report stayed relatively the same. We did get U.S. Steel payment, so you see a bump up of that amount. You have 2 memberships in your packet. One is for TWA annual dues, and one is for NWSA annual dues. We do not have a bill from Sledge this month. I tried Friday again to see if they could send it, but they don't have it ready. So there's no legal professional invoice in this packet. For the financial side of it, we received a little over $20,000 from RFP Operating Company that y'all approved their contract about the last 2 meetings. And we expect about $10,000 more to come in this month, so you'll see it in next financials. This is the 4th month of zero pumping for Harleton. They have a leak in a creek, so they're waiting for rain and water to go down before they fix it, but we're expecting them to fix it within the next month. So hopefully that number won't be 0 going forward. We have very minor capital expenditures this month, only less than $5,000 worth. $4,000 that was for, security cameras and installation at the Hugh Springs tank, and just a little miscellaneous for the Tanner Bouton motor, repair at the Clear Well. And that's all for the financial side of it. I will need y'all to approve also the memberships and financial.
Okay, all right. Any comments or questions, board?
I will pull the NWSA, make it a separate item.
Away from the item number 4?
Yeah.
Okay,
If I'll make a motion to approve everything but NWSA.
okay. I got a motion on the floor. To have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Got a second to that motion to approve the monthly investment report, financial reports of current accounts and funds, and authorization to pay invoice for membership and professional service, excluding NWSA. Okay?
Yeah, excluding for right now.
I said excluding NWSA. All those supporting that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
No.
Okay, got one no vote on that. Okay, all right. Do we at this time want to make a motion about NWSA?
I move that we no longer
Participate.
participate with NWSA.
Okay. Is there a second?
I need to know what the initials are.
National Water Supply Alliance, and if I could take a second here, just.
You can, yes, yeah. New board member, yeah.
National organization that addresses itself solely to the supply of water in the United States. It was made up about 2019, and I was appointed to the board of that in 2021, served on that board since then, and was appointed to be the membership chairman in 22. And we went from, when I got on it, had 20 members, it's now 41. It's a small organization because it only deals with the water supply in the United States, which means we coordinate almost exclusively with the Corps of Engineers. The Corps of Engineers is the operating authority for reservoirs in the United States of America. They have contracts to get their water out there for industrial use, municipal use, and any other use that those authorities decide to deal with. We here in this reservoir deal directly with Fort Worth office, the district office. We have a very good working relationship. I can say that in the period of time, there is some question about the use of the money of the $5,000 to join this against the return to this organization. And I will point out that last year, the Corps of Engineers for O&M, which is operating and maintenance of our reservoir, which they control, jumped us from $300,000 roughly each year for the preceding 10 years to $500,000+ in 1 year, a substantial increase out of the blue. They didn't do that just to us, they did it across the nation. People that had reservoirs. There's about 120 reservoirs across the nation that have core contracts, okay? The Corps of Engineers is the people that deal with water. They deal primarily with navigation and flood control. 81% of their budget is for those two things. Only 19% of their budget is for water supply. NWSA, along with several other organizations, joined up to confront the Corps about this O&M increase of suddenly almost doubling their cost last year. Went to GAO, General Accounting Office, GSA, General Services Administration, and they leaned on the Corps of Engineers. The Corps of Engineers rewrote almost 100% of these O&M billings around the nation, and ours was dropped from $500 to $300, which was a savings of $200,000 in 1 year to this organization alone. We think it's money well spent, and I would propose that we continue to participate.
Okay. Very good. Any questions besides what?
No, that was the question.
Okay, very good, very good. So did you make a motion?
I made a motion
To not participate?
to not participate in
Okay.
NWSA.
And do we have a second? Okay. Seeing there is no second, the motion dies from lack of support.
You'll have to make a motion to approve.
Yes, we have. I will entertain a motion to approve membership in NWSA.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion by George.
I'll second.
I got a second by Robin. All those supporting the motion for us to continue
No.
membership?
Now we just have discussion.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Come on, discussion.
So if I'm gonna spend $5,000, I wanna see a return on that investment. He just laid out the fact that they went from 300 to 500,000, but that's not necessarily a true reading because the core expense, since I've been here, has always been a variable expense from year to year based upon what the core is required to do. So to say that you got it, to say NWSA got it reduced is a false statement.
Didn't say that.
It doesn't just cost us $5,000 a year, it costs us all the associated expenses that go along with this organization, which are quite expensive as well. So that's why I see no return on investment with this. This $5,000 will be better spent. We don't have a federal problem, we have a state problem.
Right.
So our money would be better spent in the state than it would be outside the state.
May I respond?
You surely may. We're in discussion of that motion.
What is our annual budget here? What is the top line of our annual budget? $8 million. You're talking about $5,000 against $8 million not being a good investment. I didn't say NWSA caused GAO to correct this problem. I said NWSA was in a mix of organizations, the American Waterways Association, several other big organizations, all the river authorities in the east had that same problem. In California, all the reservoir people over there had the same problem. It was a nationwide emphasis in Washington to ask GAO to ask the court to explain their line, how they did this, and they couldn't. Consequently, they reduced this. Now, whether they did it in previous years or they did it, we're going to do it again. I'm just pointing out in 1 year we saved $200,000, not because of me, certainly, not because of NWSA alone, certainly, but NWSA was part of a group of people that were able to convince Washington, D.C. to go look at this and put the pressure on the Corps to go re-examine it, and we got it lowered. That's all I'm saying. I would say 5,000 against 200,000, not a bad return at all. The other expenses he's alluding to are my travel expenses, which I go to 3 meetings a year. I go to the Washington, D.C. meeting of NWSA, where I stay for 2 days. I go to the annual meeting of NWSA, where I stay for 2 days. And then there's a board of directors retreat that I go to for 2 days each year. That's 3 meetings out of the city, and those generally run somewhere in the neighborhood of about $1,500, I believe, total. So you're talking about another $4,500. So we're in and out for $9,500. Those are the additional expenses he's alluding to. Again, $9,500 against 500,000 against 200,000. Not a bad return.
Okay. Any more discussion?
I'll just reiterate the fact that NWSA did not encourage anybody to do anything. Our core expenses are variable based upon what the core of the division in Fort Worth decides we need to do at the time. When at 9/11, we went over the $1.5 million because the safety procedures had to be put in place.
Rightfully so.
That expense came way back down within 2 years.
Probably because of NWSA.
Well, the core expenses oscillate tremendously over a period of time. I've seen it as high as $500,000.
Yeah.
And to say now it's 200-something thousand is to be true, but it's a rarity, and it's going back up again.
But we've had a good working relationship with the core of this district. And when we want to know something, they've always been forthcoming and giving it to us.
Couldn't agree more on that. We have an excellent relationship with Fort Worth, as we also do with Washington, D.C., where we have a civilian group of people that run the water supply end of it, and they come always to our annual meetings as well as us going to see them in Washington, D.C.
All right, any more discussion? Any questions, board? Questions? Okay. We've got a motion and a second to continue to participate in NWSA going forward for another year. Seeing there's no more discussion, no more questions, we will proceed to vote. Those supporting the motion to continue participation and membership of NWSA, please raise your right hand. That's 3 votes yes. Those opposed, raise your right hand. Okay, we got 3-3. Okay.
I'll make a motion for reconsideration in the month of July.
Okay, okay. All right.
Second that.
Motion failed on the membership. Got a motion and a second to reconsider membership in NWSA in the month of July. Okay? Those need a second.
Second.
You got a second? Those supporting the motion to reconsider membership in NWSA during the month of July, signify by raising your right hand. Okay. Those opposed? That's a 3-3. So, neither motion passes because we have to have a majority vote.
Majority vote.
Absolutely. So, at this point in time, I will just make a comment that NWSA, we will have some more discussion and talk amongst yourselves as board members, and we will probably put that back on the agenda for the July meeting. Not necessarily for approval or disapproval, just on there to generically take action at that potential time. Okay?
Please
All right.
don't, yeah, please don't talk about it outside open
Yes.
session.
Okay, we won't. We know the rules. Yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. So, the motion for item number 6 pass, excluding NWSA, okay? We're moving to item 7, consideration action on the audit engagement letter with Arnold Walker Arnold for the year ending September 30th, 2025, which is the end of our fiscal year.
Make a motion we approve.
Okay?
Their assignment again for another year.
Okay.
I'll say.
I got a motion by Jack, a second by Pat to approve the audit engagement letter with Arnold, Walker, and Arnold for the year ending September 30th, 2025. All those supporting that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. Item agenda number 8. Consideration action on joint funding agreement with USGS for the period October 1, 2025 through September 30th, 2026, which will be the next fiscal year.
I move we accept the agreement with the GSA.
I got a motion by Pat, I got a second by Jack to approve the joint funding agreement with USGS for the period October 1, 2025 through September 30th, 2026. All those supporting that motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, unanimous. Item agenda number 9, review proposed capital expenditures for year 2026. Dominic.
Good to have you guys. You will have it on 2 screens. One will be the main screen and one will be behind. The pointer does not allow me to point at the TV. So I still need to research why, but there's some electronic lights. So we have another year. We've been investing very heavily in infrastructure, capital improvements for the last 4 years with your guys' guidance. Both plants are way better than they were, and we're heading in the right direction. But the job never ends. Basically, it continues. The big stuff, it needs to be addressed, and then the smaller to mid-sized stuff needs to be maintained and continuously addressed. So for 2026, going at the most important to the least important per se. They are all important or they wouldn't be on the list, but they have to be in some sort of lineup. So you guys know that we started, there will be probably a 6-year long process of addressing our ground storage tanks throughout. We have, several of them for every member city. We finished Hugh Springs successfully this year. Lone Star got brand new tank year before. That's part of it. And the next one on the line is City of Avenger. It's not on purpose because the mayor is here, and that's how that was designed.
Good timing, Mayor.
But our Avenger station is very important because it's the only tank site which actually serves two purposes. So it serves as a water supply for City of Avenger, but it also serves as a holding station for the water, which then with the gravity is being fed to another three customers. The MIMS Water Supply Corporation, Lassiter tap, Harlton tap, and then City of Jefferson, which will be is also on the line to restore the tanks down the road. So City of Avenger has two tanks, 500,000 gallons. Believe it or not, that's actually the one to the right, the taller one. And 250,000 gallons, that's the one with not really looking too good. Currently the 250,000 gallon tank is empty, it's out of service. Everything goes to the 500,000 gallon tank. This project will include a full sanding, welding, structural inspections, repairs to both tanks. So we will start from the small one while the big one is still in service. Once the small one is fully addressed and repaired, we will switch it. This project is going to be a little bit on a higher side compared to Hugh Springs because Hugh Springs is outside of main area. So those things would require much more covering and enclosures, so the sanding procedures do not affect driving by cars, the bank, post office on the other side, and this is in a pretty busy intersection. So restoration of the tanks inside and out, replacement of every single valve leading to the tank, from the tank, in between the tank. We have a vault right there with the older stuff in it, which like Hugh Springs, all valves needs to be replaced. Then also addition of new security measures. So there will be a cameras, the same like in Hugh Springs, which we will give City of Avenger access to that site. So you'll be able to monitor if anything happens. On the left side of this picture, there is an elevated storage tank for City of Avenger. It's at the same property, so security will include the entire lot. Also, we will be changing SCADA to the same operation as Hugh Springs, so $450,000, and we're gonna be bidding it out with you if you guys approve it. Probably within the next couple of weeks, the request for proposals will be sent out, and we're planning to start on this project very early in October. So this is our largest project for the next year. Second is continuation of addressing our raw water pump station, the heart of Tanner Water Treatment Plant. That's where all the raw water comes from. There is no other sources. So over the last 6 years, we replaced our main raw water pumps. They are both 4 million gallons per day. The pumps were replaced. The VFD have been not, so we've been replacing them as it goes. So part of this project is to replace the VFD on pump number 1. But the largest portion of this cost is, besides the 2 big pumps you see in the middle picture, we had 2 small ones, and they were only at about 1 million gallons per day, where the big ones are 4 million gallons per day. So those 2 small pumps were there from the inception, and they were in the beginning they were enough to support the water for Tanner plant. As we grew, they became a backup. There's a much more benefit of running pumps in a variable frequency drives than the constant speeds. So they were going to be replaced under this budget here, regardless. They failed. They've been pulled out, and the assessment we've got was Repairing of those two pumps were in excess of $75,000. To putting a third big pump, which would double the size of those two small ones, it's about 120 plus. So we decided that in the long run, for possible expansion of the plant, getting a third reliable VFD instead of the two small pumps, it's better solution, better bang for your buck. So that project totals for about $220,000, and that is on the low side that we would be basically bidding out each separate project. So the piping, the pump itself. I have tremendous amount of quotes and research done, so we believe that we can do this very efficiently and improve the Tanner water supply for decades to come. Third project, also Tanner plant. So as everything in the Tanner plant, it's getting older. Our chlorine bay, it's been there, since we actually expanded the chlorine bay 15 years ago. The crane, it's been maintenance or emergency repaired for the last 3 years. It's getting to the point where it's cost more to keep repairing it than to get a new one. So we need to replace the crane. We need to check, even though we fixed the beam, you can see by the integrity of this beam was jeopardized. We no longer need that extension, so we're going to cut it out and just stop it. It is, believe it or not, the big trucks right now which coming with delivery, they clearing this with about 1 inch left. So every time they drive, we are scared. So it will happen that one of those truck drivers have a little extra air in their tires and something might happen. So so this is a portion of not only addressing the structural of the chlorine bay, but also a replacement of all the piping, all the security, gas detectors, improvement of the feed room, sealing it, replacing the fan. So we are looking at $70,000 to finish this project, and that would be probably one of those the series don't like. There will be a lot of small things happening over a period of time, but I believe that will improve safety, improve our commitment to emergency preparedness plan, and improve requirements from EPA for safety of the chlorine gas on site. Number 3, again, no, I'm not trying to score brownie points with Avenger or Jefferson, but those 3 pumps you see here in this picture in the top left corner, those are 3 constant speed pumps for Avenger and Jefferson. And those domes, those really not nice looking domes, are so-called Clive valves, and they were installed when that line was being built. And this is specialty valve, or it was specialty valve at the time, which would prevent water hammer to come back and destroy the pump or even clear well. Since Avenger line right there is a 24-inch leaving the Tanner plant and is going uphill, the amount of water and weight in that pipe is tremendous. So in case the power outage where the pump shuts down and the constant speed pump shuts down just like that, can create so-called water hammer, which means that the amount of water which was going uphill will make this little move downwards, causing hundreds of tons of weight to put against the concrete block. Or I've seen pipes this size come out of the ground when the water hammer happens, taking street with it and building or whatever it is. It's massive power. So we've been working on those valves for years, but they were basically custom made for us. So what you see what you don't see, it's inside parts, especially made for those. They are stainless steel. Those valves required a full overhaul, and the quotes we've been getting for those particular valves are about $150,000 just to address those valves. Well, this is a technology which had to be used at that time. Technology present right now allows us to do basically what we did with the south side. Do not use the Clive valves and use the highly sophisticated check valves with converting those constant speeds to variable frequency drives, which would allow the valve to shut down slower, prevent any water hammers. We have it working for Southside for years with no problems. Much easier to replace, much easier to work on, and it will save us power because the variable frequency drives draw much less power than the constant speeds. So, on a side note for this project, I don't know why they didn't build it like that when they were designing it. Southside pumps are literally next door, like 5 feet from it. So you have 3 pumps going to Avenger, 2 big pumps going to Southside. We're doing a study and feasibility of this project, spending very little amount of money, considerably. We will connect the both lines. We will interconnect Avenger line with Southside line with an isolation valve in the middle. That allows us to have a 5 pumps redundancy if something happens on either side. So if something tremendous happens to the 2 Southside pumps, we could use Avenger pumps to feed water there and vice versa. That would be just addition of maybe $10,000, and then we already will be digging there. So we believe this is a very smart way to add redundancy and add water supply guarantee pretty much. So that's $300,000. This is a large project. It would involve building a side building where we have to put our new VFDs. So new VFDs, new little building, new valves. So yeah, that's why this is quite a bit of money. If you guys agree with this, the completion of this will pretty much secure, existence of delivery to Jefferson Avenger for decades to come with no problems, I believe. Next project. So this weird looking cabinet on the bottom right, the 2 pictures. Again, when the Southside expansion was being built, a lot of this stuff was new. Oh, this is so cool to get. So KSA designed this high dollar APC unit. That little cabinet you see, there's probably $180,000 we paid for it when we built it. And that basically is, it's like your little APCs you have by the desk, which will, if the power comes off, it keeps the power without shutting down your computer. Those cabinets support all our filter panels. They support all the filter gallery on the bottom and all the influent valves for the filtration at the basins. Well, design behind it was, let's keep it continuously running because instrumentation, like for filters, PLCs, programmable logic controllers, are very sensitive to power blips. So, with doing research, instead of reinvesting in rebuilding this cabinet, which is on its last leg, we right now with the technology can put a much smaller units for each PLC inside the cabinet for a fraction of the cost. The design of this cabinet, and we still don't know, electricians cannot answer me. It was routed that if this cabinet dies, we cannot bring power to any of it. Doesn't matter if generator comes on or not. The way how they routed it is this cabinet rules the power to all those components I told you. So we want to take this cabinet out of the equation, reroute it, and put a specified small APC units designed for PLCs. We do not need PLC units. We do not need extra power for all the valves. We have a generator which kicks on. The valves will not hurt if they are without the power for a little bit. So that was overkill. We're only going to address the filtration and the small units for all the electrical, for electronics. So we believe this is needed because if this cabinet fails, we do not have to fixing it very quick, very fast with a lot of probably unnecessary money spent. And so for years at the Tanner plant, we've been using 2 large machineries, and one is a farm tractor bought probably by Mr. Tanner. I believe it's an old John Deere. It's a huge machine. It's not really it's for fields, for hay. It's really not for the Tanner operation, but we've been using it since that's what we had. We also had about 32-year-old small Ford tractor. They still hold decent value, but they're falling apart, and literally we are probably knowing Murphy's Law. We don't know if the frame is about to fail. But we've been repairing whatever we can. That's why a lot of costs this year for repairs of machinery was higher due to the 2 tractors. We believe that we could trade in the old 2 tractors and get one modern mid-size utility tractor with attachments we could use throughout the plant. We might actually consider going, instead of tractor, going like a Bobcat, on a skid rower or whatever. So we believe this amount of money with trade-ins would get us one tool, which will be much better utilized than 2 old tractors. And if we ever need something extra, we can always rent it for the project. So it's time to basically make investment in those machines. And as I told you guys last year, you approved the first 2 trucks last year. We believe that this year, within the $60,000, we could acquire 2 of those, and basically all our 10+ years, hundreds of thousands of miles vehicles would be replaced. So that would close the fleet replacement. So we would have 2 new trucks for Tanner, 1 for Pittsburgh, 1 for ops manager, and everything else. It's no longer with us. So again, we are investing in safety, in the newer technology, and probably better gas mileage, and the repairs. So how the cost for the year comes up. So the total cost for capital improvements for 25-26 accounts to, if all the amounts are 100% used, is $1,285,000. Fund 200 picks up $1,077,188, and then the split for Fund 300 would be $207,812. And then within the 3 participants, it's Tryon Road 124, Diana 41, and Districts 41,000. So my request and recommendation is for you to consider and approve capital improvements for 25-26. Any questions?
Yep. Board?
I got, so there's 8 items here. If I ask you to rank these 8 items, how do you rank them?
That's how you've seen them. They are ranked. They are already
Rank
ranked.
them just as I
Yes,
did?
yes. We focused on items which help us produce water. So my initial one was a little larger and had some beautifications, but we can wait with that.
And then,
Oh, I mean, this is just a discussion since we're not approving it.
yes.
We can talk about it again next month. Yep. When we go through the formal process. I mean, if you need it, you gotta have it, so.
Total cost is $1,285,000?
Correct, sir.
For all 8 of
Yes.
those projects? Okay.
For all 3 funds.
From all 3 funds, yeah. And you ranked them the way they were presented today?
Okay.
All right. Any other questions, board? And we'll just review today. That was the original presentation of the capital improvement projects for the coming year, fiscal year. So, okay, all right. So we will take action on that in the July board meeting. All right. Let's take a 5-minute break real quick, okay? And we'll be on agenda item number 10 when we return. Third, 23rd, 23rd, 6:23.
funds? Yeah, it is. That's the fund sheet. It's the unrestricted funds. It goes with this. This one. Today, the 22nd. I guess I would be agenda.
Laura need to sign that.
I asked him on.
It still has Stan. Go ahead and sign yours on everything.
Are there packets for attendees for the items for today? Is that what?
We have agendas out there. Hey, where's your Bible?
Your stuff's always on the screen.
You just put the district records.
Yours is mine. Can I get you anything on that?
I'm good, thank you though.
Or you want anything on out there?
I'm good, thank you.
Hi, how are you?
You looking good?
Yeah. Here, need to talk to your eye doctor.
Talk about tears.
Well, you're not Danny or Walker or?
Resigned to.
All right, it's Walker.
The kids were both playing college sports and our two youngest girls are, and so I had her 3 years in. Miss Ryan was like, I got a million days, just take days off when you need it, but, you know, I hated to ask her off and I wanted to be able to go and see them whenever I wanted to, and it's just not convenient sometimes.
Yeah.
It takes all the time, and I didn't want to be gone.
Kids
All right.
teach you.
Yeah, I think they do too.
Yeah.
She didn't, she thought it'd be best if I just kept working with her.
I know. Well, no, it's like change.
I know it. But
Keep
anyway,
going,
I really
plowing through.
Loved it. Enjoyed it.
Well, this is a counselor at school.
Okay.
Which has been pretty interesting.
I bet, what group, Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. I was waiting for you.
I love you, right.
She said you're we're in Paraguay to start the year.
Call the meeting back to order and 10:50. And we are going to be on item agenda number 10. Consideration action on the draft budget for fiscal year starting October 1, 2025 through September 30th, 2026. And Ms. Osiris, give us an update.
Well, this budget does include all those capital expenditures that were presented by Dominic, just so you
Yeah,
know.
it- Walk up.
They're already included. All the
It
capital
does
expenditures are
include
included
capital-
in what I'm
capital
about to present.
improvements.
So I'm gonna go down, if you look at your, the combined budget that you got in your packet, I'm kinda gonna go down by section and kind of, read out the big line items. So for treated water sales, we have an overall increase, $269,000. That's due to, Hugh Springs and Dansville's volumes are gonna go up. You see the financials there, way high above everybody else, so I went ahead and changed their usage. Also, Road and Diana pay costs. So when we have higher capital expenditures, well, their revenue for them is gonna be higher. So, combined, the $150,000 combined is part of that $269,000. So it's not a big revenue change other than those two items for the treated water sales. For the raw water sales, those basically remain unchanged. They will change, so right now, we're in negotiations with Swepco Welsh, we're negotiating that increase. This, line item is at the same rate. So if anything, hopefully it will increase. By the time hopefully by August, we'll have everything finalized. In the other category, I included the administrative fees from Fund 300. Last year, we didn't include them in the budget, we just kind of let it be an addition over revenue. So this time it's actually in the budget. That accounts for part of the increase. Also, I increased interest income a little because that one's hard to predict with everything that's going
So
on.
what you have on here for the administrative fee,
84,000.
and what was it last year?
Well, last year we didn't have it in the budget, so we weren't sure when the budget went in if they were gonna agree to it, and so they agreed to it, and they've been paying it this year, so you
Right.
see it in your financials, but it wasn't actually in the budget.
Right.
So I actually put it in the budget as a line item this time,
Okay.
and it's 84,000 is what's in there for this coming year. And that's also based on, how I get to it is what's budgeted, because they're gonna pay a portion. So if there's more, more expenses, then it's gonna go up, if it's less, it just kind of, it goes based on the budget.
So the bottom line is, they agreed to the administrative fee after we'd already approved the budget last year.
Right,
Okay.
right, so it wasn't included last year, so you'll see that in there. And then, if we moved on to the expenses, looking at personnel went down about $140,000. That is due to the elimination of the CFO position. Then we go down to supplies. Supplies had no change. We had janitorial supplies, but we kind of lumped it into routine. So while one line item disappeared, it went into the other. It just makes it better for our accounting to separate those little items out. So supplies had no change. Maintenance, you'll see a decrease of $264,000 in the maintenance side. All of it is the Corps of Engineers. So in calendar year 23-24, we paid $515,000. The year we're in, it was estimated to be higher, but we actually came in at $382,000. So we received an estimate for next year from the Corps of $260,000. And at the same time, we received an estimate for the next 5 years, and they're all, for 27, it's $454,000, 28 is $462,000, 29 is $472,000, 30 is $481,000, and 31 is $490,000. So I was concerned that it kind of dropped down and then it went back up for 5 years. So I called the Corps and I talked to Mr. Kingston to make sure that I don't want to budget 200 and then it come in at 500. So I was like, are you sure it doesn't look like it looks kind of awkward? He said it was correct, and he said that they are expecting more to go up. So we are coordinating a meeting with them hopefully this week to talk about what those increases are for the next 5 years and the difference. He couldn't tell me why it went down, but he told me it was correct. So when we have that meeting, hopefully he'll be able to clarify why so it's a decrease of 267 in the maintenance. And that's pretty much the main part of the maintenance.
Some of the core issue is the numbers they were working with, they were based upon being fully staffed. And now that they're no longer fully staffed, some of the senior folks have left. So the junior folks don't really have they got an idea what's going on, but they don't really know. They haven't been there long enough to know what's happening and so on. So if I'm in that position, I'm gonna give you a higher estimate
What's up?
rather than a lower estimate.
So if this comes in higher though, the 200, know that I tried
Now,
to
you
make
should be,
sure.
that number should be good, because if they're doing on a rolling five-year plan, so they were good 5 years ago.
The next category is services. Overall, it went up 81,000. Utilities themselves went down 95,000. Y'all remember they charged a lot for that power cost recovery factor and for the demand charge for a long time, and it wasn't like stable because it was a variable increase, so there was no way to kind of determine it, so we left it high, but it's been now 2 consecutive years where it's lowered, so I went ahead and lowered it, but I lowered it not too much, so hopefully to maintain and budget, and we'll see how it plays out this year. I also decreased professional services for legal, $25,000. I don't expect to spend $200,000 in legal fees, but with everything that's been going on, I think that we need to have that line item there just in case. I also included, in professional services consulting, $85,000, it'll have an $85,000 increase. Part of it is TriSet. It's becoming more serious, and so we'll probably have to have some kind of consulting with what's going on with their water treatment plant that they're building. And also, I would like to leave room to do a liquid pine study. I think that if going forward, there's a lot of potential for us, and we really need to have that and present it to each of our member cities, especially with everything that happened. So that is for the liquid pine study. I put in 75,000, and for the TriSet assessment, 50,000. That's 125,000. But it only increased 85,000 because we had 40,000 last year, so we're going. It was already that 45,000 was already there.
So our study, is that we doing that through Texas Water Development Board? Is that our plan?
Well, I would like for Tony to do it with Corolla.
Okay.
That is my plan. Also sludge, we have not had disposal of sludge in a while, and that used to be a huge expense, but it's coming.
I'll chime in. So, as I was telling you guys that in the past we were removing it wet and it was heavy. So we found out that spreading it and drying it can decrease the hauling by up to 50%, which is just pure money stay with us. And because we redesigned the area which in the past was inaccessible to us as a tender plant, we basically have a natural drying beds right now in the entire corner of the property. So we can. So basically, what we will do is we will dispose more of it, but less often. So we will start probably in September, and then if we have more, we will continue in October. But overall, we are saving money. It's just not as every single year.
So yes, we'll have some sludge disposal. Probably some will hit our current fiscal year, and then the majority will be next year. And then in the other department, the other increase, $103,000. $100,000 is the illuminate pit water storage. I will probably talk more about it in the general manager's report, but we are expected to make a payment this year in December.
What was that?
So
I'm sorry.
we are expected to make our first payment this year in December for that $100,000 annual illuminate water storage for the pit. So it's in there in the other, that's the increase for that. And then the remaining for capital improvements, well, you heard from him, from last year to this year, capital improvements will go up $495,000 if y'all approve everything that he presented. And then debt service, while it's staying the same, one of our bonds actually dropped off. The reason it's staying the same is because Tryon Road, they did their separate when we refinanced, and they wanted their payments to be the same so that when one dropped off, so that's why it looks the same, but it did drop off. So we no longer have any of our 2013 debt service. And so that's all. I would, if you agree, would like to send it out to the member cities for their review. The only thing that I expect to change would be the Welsh revenue, but if anything, that should hopefully be a plus. Unless y'all want to wait and do it next month, we can do that too. We do have to have it the budget normally approved we normally do it in August, but it has to be done in September. So we do have time if you wanna wait.
Okay. Questions?
Okay, so, two things, all right? I would like to see us to re-implement, it don't necessarily have to be the fire hydrant program, the member cities, but it needs to be something. Whether we let them apply that money towards fixing leaks, because every leak they fix, that helps us. That means we don't have to treat as much water. Whether you design it as putting a valve for a cutoff valve, whether it's for flushing purposes or whatever the case may be. And, about 8,000 per city, what's that?
72 counting the Shrine Road and Diana,
We would.
which we had them in.
Yeah, I'm not including them.
But it was originally.
It wasn't original.
Well, I mean,
We added
when
that
we,
later on.
when we
Right,
discontinued
when we
it, it was
discontinued it.
9, correct?
This is strictly for the member cities,
Okay. Gotcha.
not for any other outside customer.
Okay.
The member cities need to be able to access the district, since they formed the district.
Well, we need to be
Okay.
able to define what it can be used for.
Yeah, I mean, when we started the program, it was only the member cities.
Yes.
So, I mean, figure out what it is we can help them with, and,
56,000 total for just the member cities, 7 times 8.
yeah. And then if we want to talk, I mean, we can add it in, we'll rediscuss this again next month.
Sure.
I'd like to see that added in.
Okay.
The other thing I want to bring up is the rate. We have projected no rate increase to the member cities.
Correct.
Right.
I don't want to get in this mess again where we got to go up on a big number. If we're going to do a percentage, I mean, we need to at least be in the cost of living percentage increase.
I think for this year, we're good. We're gonna be looking at, we've got the PIF in, and then we're looking at all the future capital improvements, 5-year plans. And then we'll be able to put in the increase in those plans. But for this year, with the bond dropping off, I think we did it 2 years in a row. We did it last year and the year before. I think that for this year, we'll be good leaving it as it is. And then when we have a more definite structure of how we're gonna, because we don't even know yet what it is. Are we gonna do the clear rail? Are we gonna do the centrifuge? Once we know what it is we're actually gonna do, then I can implement the structure. I agree, we need structure.
By next time this year, we should have an answer from Texas Water Development Board as far as have we been considered a finalist or not, and then the things will actually start looking very. I mean, then we have a numbers. That's why we're doing part of the studies are.
Right.
We're preparing for them, saying, hey, we got money for you. Let's go. So with Senator Perry's bill passing, there's some of it. So we believe that 1 year giving cities, after 2 big increases, it's a little breather. So and then we can design it better for the next decade or so, or however.
Well, I mean, being a former council member, I'd rather have a small increase each year than I had if you'd come to me and ask for 45 or 50 cents all at one time.
I think everybody agrees.
Yes, no, and I do agree, I
So-
I'd just like to have a structure and not,
What's that, the bond falling off is how much?
well,
I've
it
been-
was
roughly.
about, I think it was 7.4 million total, but normally, payment-wise, it was about 900,000
A year.
a year.
I'm not concerned. From a discipline standpoint, I share Beth's concern, but I'm not concerned about it financially based on what we have already and the expense control going forward. What your forecast suggests, I don't think you're gonna have one, not only this year, you're probably not gonna have one next year either.
And the water rate increases over the last 2 years was $1.48 to $2.59 to $3.40. And we're currently at $3.40 for member cities, right?
Yeah.
Okay, correct.
So I do
Okay.
agree, hopefully next year we'll have that back, and I can actually do not just for 1 year, but we can look at it for 5 years, and we'll know each year. I do agree we need to have it that way, though. Because we don't have a definite structure,
I mean, it's only a nickel. It's a nickel. That's a nickel we don't have to go up down the road. So, that's just for consideration, I'm just throwing that out there.
And besides the increase from $1.48, $2.59 to $3.40, we're still approximately $2 below actual costs. So actual costs are about $5.40 or something like that.
That's right.
Nature, and we're at $3.40
Which,
for member cities.
with the bond dropping off, that kind of drops,
Yeah.
right? Because it's part of the cost. But the problem with that is, as soon as we get depth again, it's gonna go up. So that's why I wouldn't lower it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a temporary relief.
Yes.
If, let's say if the PIF was approved and you guys approved and we follow through, that was north of $80 million, which would have to be borrowed. That would be a big increase, so.
So our subsidy is $1.68 from actual, right? On water cost, $1.68. So we're still subsidizing the individual cities at $1.68 per thousand.
We went 15 years without an increase, that was too long, but I think giving the cities a break would be a good thing. I know my city council would appreciate not.
Particularly
having
getting
a
up
rate
twice.
increase this year, if we
Well,
don't have
and
to.
whenever I present it, I would like to be able to
Second.
say, it's gonna go up this year, this amount, because these are the things that we're doing to cause the increase.
The only thing about that is we told the cities that every major city, almost all cities, have an increase, period, every single year. We stood on that. And now you're gonna say, well, we're not gonna have this increase, and then they're gonna fall back into the position that they were in 3 years ago, or by then, 3 years ago. I'm kind of with Pat on this. I think even if you went a nickel or 8 cents,
And
you're probably not gonna get a lot of feedback from it. It's so small.
Let's
But
don't lose
they're
sight of the
right.
fact we hit them 2 years in a row.
Right.
But we hit
But
them
we
major.
should have been hitting them.
We hit them major for 2 years.
Yeah.
We should have been hitting them.
We did wait too long, as Lawson said. But
I did not tell
we don't
my
wanna
city
catch
council
up
we were
with
not gonna raise
expense of
it,
the
that we were gonna
individual
raise it
cities.
a year. That's not what the message I told them. I told them we'd raise if we have to, but if we would like to not have to. And
That's
it
right.
sounds like this year we don't have to, so I would like to not have any raise.
I agree with Rob, and I don't see the justification for doing that in the next couple of years, at least.
I will, once we have that stuff back and we kind of analyze more, we have so much projects going forward that, with TriSet and everything, and so many possibilities, that next year we might have to get, find some kind of way to get funding if that doesn't follow through, and then we'll have to do an increase, so. But I do agree, I do like the structure, I just want to be able to say, these are the steps we're doing, and that's why it's going up, before I just.
I'll go back, I wanna go backtrack to the hydrant program thing.
To what?
Okay, the hydrant, or, I call it the hydrant program, that's
Sure.
what we started.
We're gonna rename it.
I call it-
Don't-
Can we
We're gonna
rename it?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they can use hydrants.
Whatever.
We did a first round and a second round. I don't want no first and second round. I want a one round only,
100% agree.
and it has to be in here by August, whatever the last day of August
Quick,
is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if they don't
So-
take advantage of it, they
Yes.
don't
And
take
it's-
Take
advantage.
advantage of it, if you do, if you don't, you don't.
There's no extra rounds, there's no
Right.
splitting.
Do you
whatsoever.
wanna
We're not
divide
gonna-
it- the
we're not
money
gonna
up if they
reallocate.
don't?
It's either, it goes to Hugh Springs if they apply, it goes to Abner if they apply, it goes to Orsi if they apply. If you don't apply, you just don't get it.
What about the extra money that's left over from the
No,
cities that don't
and
apply?
that just rolls back into our budget.
I like that, because that first and second created just an accounting nightmare, and then it created y'all having to kind of, how do you reallocate it, and y'all give some to one, and it's just, it's more fair to just, if you apply, you get it, and.
We're not gonna be in the process of begging cities to do it again. There it is, you take advantage of the program.
Well, that's
You want
what,
8,000, is that the price you wanna go with?
well, that's what it is right now.
That's what
Pat's
it
talking
is.
about
Well,
taking
I
out-
I
guess
mean,
it's nothing
it could
right
be, if we wanna do 10,000, I don't care. It just needs to be something that the member cities can utilize, because we cannot give them money directly by law, but we can help them. And they all got leaks.
Would this be a yearly program?
It
or-
is.
Well, yeah,
It was.
we'll renew it on a yearly basis.
And it's all based on really water conservation. Because whatever the cities save, we save too, because we're subsidized $1.68. So some of that they spend money on saves water from the individual cities, doesn't have a demand on us, so we benefit from that too, since we're paying a subsidy to begin with.
Yeah, it's been some years since I was on the city council, but the number of unaccounted water, that we were not able to bill customers, but we were billed from the water district, it was like, for Pete's sakes, can we not fix this? Cause it was a lot.
Water loss is the biggest,
Yeah.
budget buster for them.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a leak, if we want help repair their leak, I don't care, just give it some help.
The old system was for fire hydrants and isolation valves.
Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah.
it was?
And most of them did that, and
Right.
they only got so many fire hydrants, so you
Right.
just.
Right.
Boy, we got hydrants, diversion valves, anything had to do with water conservation.
Okay.
Even the timers at the end of the lines where they could flush their valves.
Well, in the past, from that being, the price was so low, the $1.49,
Yeah, I mean-
that it was cheaper to let the water go over the weekend than pay overtime to fix it.
Yeah.
It was literally cheaper, so it's like, let it leak, it's chip change. So,
The water loss from bad infrastructure is really the worst problem the whole state has.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the whole state of Texas in terms of water.
but our water loss was right at 1%, I believe, so, yeah.
They all got generators now,
Yes.
and need to be used for generator maintenance.
Just have whatever they need to use it for.
Yeah.
10,000 sounds a lot more attractive to a city than 6,000. It's kind of an odd number, that 6. They start saying, well, it's too much trouble to apply for it, or we've got another program that is conflict. 10,000, that's a good number. That gets people's attention.
Was it 8 on the original when they first
We
started?
started with 7, we started, then we. went
Long
up
time
to
ago,
8, and then we-
Yeah, then it
I
went
think
to
we
8.
ended at
We
8.
ended-
Yeah, I know you ended at 8, yeah, okay.
That's when a valve only costs $500.
Okay, so to give Osiris a little direction moving forward with the budget, is it agreement to limit it to member cities only and in the amount of 10,000? And to potentially use it for anything that prevents water loss?
Well, I think you
basically.
can do some parameters on it, like the valves and the timers, and, I mean, you know what would work best, but you can do some.
Yeah, we'll
So-
put it together.
So,
Yeah,
so
you
when
can
we
put
come
that
back
together.
next month, we'll present what all, kind of read out the guidelines for them, but
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and add
It
this
just
10,000
needs
to
to be
update that.
Yeah, I need to add it item into the proposal.
Be
But-
70,000 total, if everybody uses it.
Yeah, I'll pick some brains of actually people who working in the cities on the valves and stuff and see
Yeah.
where is the true need.
Okay.
Well, including the new hydrant, I know it's a hydrant program and it would be in there, but even the more expensive, but nonetheless, in the long range, cheaper hydrants that can tell you where the leak is. If it's on the right side or the left side, you don't have to go searching for it.
Well, we've been noticing
There's
that
savings
a
involved.
lot of member cities started flushing programs, starting doing it how it's supposed to be done. So a lot of, they're surprised that there's some more water, but the water quality is important. So, city of Lone Star is under boil water notice since Easter.
Their savings is up because now their water's costing them more. They gonna let it run, it's not a giveaway like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and that was no tornado which broke their water lines, I promise you. So.
The only concern I have is, and I support getting rid of the phase 1, phase 2 for obvious reasons. However, the reason we had the phase 1 and phase 2 is because the cities were not taking advantage of the program. And then we said, okay, we don't want them to lose out for the whole year. And so after phase 1, we went back to the city's individual directors who were responsible for cities that weren't spending any money, and they had a second kick at the cat, say, oh, we forgot about spending the money. So it's gonna be more incumbent on us now to be working with our cities to make sure the cities are spending the money, if we're gonna have the program.
And what
Yeah.
happened in that is the cities that took advantage of it took advantage of it in phase two, and the ones that didn't get anything.
Right.
Cause they
Well,
didn't,
and
they didn't
that's
take
what
advantage of
happened.
it.
Right.
City of Aventure, we took every dime there ever was in both phases. And we got to be the beneficiary of a lot of cities that didn't spend their money.
And there were cities which were just, you know, oh, we got to spend it. Well, if you don't have to, you don't. It's just not, you know, it's a need base, you know, to help.
So I'm just saying, each one of us as directors, if we're gonna get rid of phase one and phase two, which I support, it's more incumbent on us now to make sure our cities are taking advantage of the program.
And utilize it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we can't make them, I mean, we can tell them, but it's
That's right.
ultimate.
Sure.
Yep.
So what do y'all want me, when I get this line included, do y'all want it to go up, the draft to go out to more cities or not yet?
I'd rather wait till July.
Okay.
Okay. I'm fine with that, yeah. That still leaves us time to
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
do it at July or August, as far as final budget is concerned. Okay.
We never, only one time I know of we've ever accepted this thing for September 1st, so. Might have been last year.
Yeah, well, last year we were a month after normal. Walt was
Yeah.
always more early and,
Yeah.
but we can wait that.
Did it at the August board meeting last year? At the fourth Monday? Yeah, okay, very good. All right. Okay, the actual wording on item 10 is consideration of action on draft budget. Do we need to go ahead and?
No.
Okay, okay. So basically, we've had input
We have
and,
input.
and we've had discussion on the different proposals. And the,
Probably for future purposes, when you word that item, word that as budget workshop.
yeah. Yep. All right. Okay. And going to include the $10,000 plan in there. Get it, use it, utilize it. Directors have to work with their cities to potentially make sure that money is applied for and used, okay? And water loss, again, is the worst problem in the whole state of Texas. It's relevant in our district also. All right, let's move. Anything else on the budget before we go to 11? Item agenda number 11, water production report, Mr. Dominic.
Long time no see. So, okay, let's we'll try to make it quick. So first thing first, I would like to officially share with you guys that one more of our employees just reached the pinnacle of 25-year service for the district. It's a Glenn Lawler. He was hired a few months after Landon, so we have two guys with a 25 years experience hands-on in running operations and plants. So the knowledge, you know, it's substantial. We are very appreciative. We're gonna pass the plaque to Glenn and the little appreciation as we always do. So just want to recognize him and thank him for his work.
Please share with them our collective congratulations and appreciation as well.
We definitely will. Thank you so much. Let's do a little update on the water quality and the lake levels. So water quality is considered good. Our alum dosages are stable between 55 and 70 milligrams per liter. That's about what we normally do this time of the year. As far as the lake levels goes, so as of this morning, Lake of the Pines is at 234.17. This is well, 2 feet above the, sorry, it's 4 feet above a seasonal pool at 230 and 6 feet above conservation pool. With this in mind, as I'm telling you every board, we have been in the flood state or a flood pool since January 1st, 2023. Not for one single day, Lake of the Pines reached conservation pool in over 2.5 years. Forget about 23 and 24, let's focus on 25. Since January 1st, 2025, Lake of the Pines released 462,000 acre feet. So to Lake of the Pines at Conservation Pool, left the Lake of the Pines, and Lake of the Pines is still 6 feet over. Just to get the perspective of how much water left Lake of the Pines in 6 months of this year. 462,000 acre feet. Okay, as far as Operation Pittsburgh, we had extensive storm damage. Sometimes we have tornadoes, sometimes we have straight winds, sometimes we have a small rain going by. This was a mid-sized storm, but the lightning just really knew where to hit. And we got hit in one of the flow meters, which is in the ground. Even though all the safeties worked, we didn't cause fires or burn things or melt things, but over voltage went through basically damaging the mitigation devices, and that went through the entire plant. So it damaged several SCADA modules, our firewall, several outlets. So and that of course happened when we were in Woodlands. It just happens. So we were able to operate in manual, find a means to cooperate with the city, and we got everything addressed. So everything is back to how it's supposed to. We still estimating the cost. If the cost of this is going to be higher than the deductible, then we might consider filing a claim. That same store damaged a lot of things in Tanner, which I will talk to you about, in a second. But as far as Pilgrim, the Pittsburgh operation right now is back to normal. We are back to producing, and city is able to withdraw whatever they need currently. On the Tanner side, we are finishing up the capital improvements. We installed a new mag meter. This is what you see on the screen. So mag meter, I know this is the lingo, so it's a magnetic meter. So what it is, basically the meter function is built into that gray piece with a little red box on top. So the water flowing through, there's no more a clamp or anything which can slip or get affected by moisture. This is enclosed, and that cable you see sends the signal to the meter head, which just reads the same meter or same technology we have for dedicated City of Hugh Springs right now. This is a master line which feeds City of Hugh Springs and MIMS water supply. The same mag meters are being put in as the project goes on every single master line. This is more reliable metering. It is safer. It's much more resilient, and you guys already approved it, so we are implementing it as it goes. So we are very happy with this project. It's working great. We are still providing tremendous amount of locates to fiber optics companies around, including, of course, they always happens at the same time. There's a new owner of the property around our land on the other side of the lake, and they were fencing it all off, so there was additional locates literally done at the same time as the fiber optics companies. Knock in the woods, so far we had the one damage with 70 miles of transmission lines, one damage, and it was paid in full by the perpetrator. So far, the cost we are incurring is additional gas and time of our employees to locate this. But so far, if that's how it goes, that I'm fine with it.
You are so lucky.
Yes.
Avenger got by itself got cut 22 times.
Well, yes, I am lucky, but I also had a meeting with every single one of those foremen, and I told them what happens if they bust our line. So I use the
Did
word.
they see the bulge?
I use a couple of biblical terms as Noah's flood and stuff like that. And how much is 120 pounds of pressure, and what does it do to a little backhoe which is there? So they got a little idea. So, but I think the idea is to talk to the people who hire them and explain them how much it's going to cost them if they break it, and then they make phone calls down the road, and then you speak with a foreman who does that, and you just invite him, maybe get him a burger, says, do not break my line. Preparing, sorry, I missed one item. So preparing as sludge removal was a serious mention to you. As I said, we're going to do some in September, which comes off of the current budget, and then the majority of it's gonna be probably rolling into October. It's all about how weather is gonna cooperate. But also next year in the sludge removal, we are most likely going to try a trial run, which might be free, might not be. That's why we put some money for it, just in case. We're going to try to lease or rent a centrifuge and do a run of how that works with our operation before we maybe decide to buying one permanently for us. It's just a smart way to do. Comparably, the rental might be $30,000 range. The build is $1 million. So it's a good amount of money to see if the stuff will work for our application. So we are about to put 2 large geotubes at the bottom of the hill, and then that's gonna take us hopefully through the next stage, which will be some mechanical sludge removal. So the pipes you are seeing here, so those are 3 capped pumps we've seen the last month. We were removing them. They all came back as obsolete and no repair. We do not need to, we never did needed to replace all 3. They were redundant left over from the original build. We have 2 additional pumps which only support a Dangerfield Hughes Springs line. One is working at all time, one is a backup. But we are waiting for final quote. We're gonna replace the smallest one out of the 3 as a backup to those 2. I'm also thinking if our PIF goes through, we're gonna be building a nuclear well, fully redundant, so investing a lot of money in the pump, which is gonna be then replicated again, it's waste. So small pump will give us a temporary backup if something happens, and eventually the small pump will be converted into designated plant water line. If you guys know, we are not on any water supply. We produce our own water for the bathroom, for everything else, and that all comes off of the water we're sending out to member cities. So if any of those pumps fails, then we lose the water for chemical feeds. We have some backups, but one dedicated pump which does not do anything else but provides water for plant operation eventually would be a good call. So we are looking for price on the smallest guy, the 8 inches, and that was budgeted this year, and we're planning to finish it within the next 2 months. We did receive the U.S. underwater report for our dredging, so we've been granted national permit. We're still dealing with receiving right of entry permits from the Lake of the Pines. There's a lot of, like you guys said, they are understaffed. There's a lot of paperwork involved in it, and this is the year where I really wanted Lake to be lower, but it's not. So we will do everything what we can within the budgeted amount to not to just let it roll or not be used. So we will buy screens and everything else. We're in process on contracting it locally to support local manufacturers, and we will utilize as much as we can. If we cannot finish dredging within this budget year, it will just roll in as a special project. That permit is until end of 2026. So the nature has to cooperate. That's a couple more pictures on those lines. What you see here is also a portion of this capital improvement we are working on right now, and it's a pressure relief valve. It's you guys remember those rusted valves I showed you on Avenger Jefferson? This is a small version of it, tiny version of it. But just to get somebody to work on this gizmo, it's like the company which works on it worked for us for years. I didn't use them since I get back. It's about $1,500 just for them to show up, and then all the guts, and repair and the parts. That's a very expensive service and maintenance for those valves. Well, our plant chief mechanic, we've been studying, we've been sending him to learn more and then getting classes. He's working with Will Hobbs a lot, getting his skill set upper, and he was able to get all the parts, take this guy apart, and ta-da! This is the same guy. This is everything rebuilt. This is literally the same valve he in the house. So his labor and his in the parts. So we spent I think $500. That was the portion versus probably $3-4 grand to get it done by the contractor. So we are getting a good use of our resources. I mean, that does look almost like brand new. And the rebuild on the inside, and it's working fine. So, okay, as you guys know, every month something unexpected happens, and that happened 4 days ago. We were pulling sludge from our lagoon, and all of a sudden the fire started at the electrical box. This is 480. The lug nut on the inside, according to electricians, they just sometimes get loose, and there's just a shorter connection, and it just cooked. We were lucky that design was put in with a slack in a cable, so we were able to use existing cables, just pull them out, clean them, remove the burnt part, reattach. Still waiting for the bill, but I think it's gonna be probably, I don't know, 10% of what it could be if that was, the entire line was burnt. And as I would like, okay, I want to add that we use hyperchlorinated filters like we did last year to improve chlorine residuals throughout. We are dumping basins. That's what we do before every summer as the organics are building up. And we're working on several SCADA issues, and a lot of them were dealt by that storm. We lost a lot of automation. We lost a lot of parts. So we're replacing. So you're gonna see some additional bills as all those parts are being replaced and repaired, but that's what we budget for. We are prepared. To end, and I know I promised to be quick, with your guys' approval, I was able to go to AWWA in Denver this year. That was the annual American Water Works Association meeting. I skipped the Texas one, wanted to see what is on the national level as far as possible, what we can use. Even though there was a great conference, that's the last time I'm going for the national one. Texas one was better, was more directed to what we do here. That was more like a gigantic guys, I mean, with you know, look at my valve, look at my this, and so basically just a show of power and strength. So I'm gonna give you a quick little view of what happened there, and I will finish with this. So that's a Denver Convention Center, was huge. That's a gasket. That's a lot of money. This is a little clamp for, we don't have pipes this size. There is a 36-inch valve, and just want to make sure, you know, I'm not pleased for public. I'm not buying them for any like of the times drainage or anything. So we were laughing that if you were living in Trump Tower, probably the valves looks like that. So you have, and then I don't know. Maybe that's the path for your member cities. There's different colors of manholes you can right now purchase. And the very confusing part is this one. Every single restroom in Denver is all gender restroom, and that is, I walked in and I got, oh my God. And I left, and I'm like, I never made a mistake. And then I'm like, there is no other one. So that's how it looks. And the very last thing, I don't think it will work, but there was a 132-inch pipe on a video which failed. I'm sorry, but that monstrosity was, I did not know they could build such a thing. So with a little comic relief, thank you so much for putting up with my report. If you've got any questions, I'm here.
Yep.
Good report, Dominic.
Yeah, very good, Dom. Anybody? Questions on the operation report? Okay, very good. All right, let's move on. And general manager's report. Sarah?
I spoke to the director of Luminance 9 closure, and they anticipate the completion of the pit next month in July. What follows is for us to do water quality testing at the site, and then after that, either in the August or September board meeting, bring the water storage agreement for y'all's approval. These were steps that were already in the development agreement that was signed in 2021. So they were already set forth in it, and now it's happening. They're finally finishing it. We'll do the water quality testing. Y'all will hopefully approve the water storage agreement, and then the first payment hits in December, which is in the budget, $100,000 a year for the pit. Last time that we spoke, I had sent a letter out to SWEPCO for Welsh's rate increase. I received a response, and as expected, they proposed a rate that I thought was unacceptable. It would actually lower what they pay by $18,000 a year. So currently, they pay $416,000. Their proposal would come in at $397,000. The reason is it's in two parts. They pay a storage and a pumping. The pumping portion is, you look at the last 10 years high, and that's what you charge. Now, if they pump more, then they pay the extra, but if they pump less, they always just pay, they pay up to the high, the maximum. Well, the last 10 years it dropped. Right now, the high is at 7,964 acre feet, and it's gonna keep dropping, because last year they only took 2,000. So every year, it's gonna be less and less. I have responded to that email. We've had phone calls and email exchanges, but we're hoping to have a face-to-face meeting this week. In the last 15 years, they've only paid $58,000. That's the annual increase in the last 15 years. So my proposal is an additional $200,000, and so hopefully we'll have a meeting this week, face-to-face, and see where we go from there. A legislative update. So Governor Abbott signed House Bill 5659 last night at about 10:30 p.m. This affects only interbasin transfers, and it requires us to have a public hearing, which in any interbasin transfer you already had to have. And it also allows us to enter into a contract only if 5 of the 7 member cities consent. It shouldn't affect us. I mean, y'all would always vote according to your member cities anyway, so.
It was 4-3 now, it's 5-2.
But, so really I don't feel like it's any major change, but it was signed last night. And last but not least, we want to recognize Sandy's 12 years of service.
Yes, yes.
Sandy was the first female appointed to our board, and she was here for 12 years, and we're gonna miss you.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you guys too. I tell you what, this was kind of like, well, with all the controversy that happened, somebody's got to be the sacrifice lamb, evidently. And of course, the mayor did tell me at the time when they appointed their new representative, which unfortunately, I guess he's on a cruise, that I did nothing wrong and that we loved you. And I thought, well, that's good. I hate to see what you do if you didn't like me. But out of all of that, I'll tell you what, this has been truly gratifying. I've never served on a board like this. Educational wise and learning so many things that I would not have learned outside of this board. Just, I feel truly honored to be able to get and the privilege to be able to have served on here, and I hope that my predecessor, he was 47 years on here, so hey, I'm good to go for 12. But I will miss everybody, I really do. I've made a lot of good friends. I feel like you kind of are my extended family, and I've really enjoyed it. And I'll come back and visit just like Stan said he would too. And I'm glad to see you on here, Laura. You're a great asset.
Thank you.
Anyway.
Miss Sandy, this is a heavy piece, so
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, you can carry it out there.
Sandy Wexler, Board of Directors, 12 years. We have a cake after.
Oh, good.
And if you're tired of this, all you have to do is like that, and it's a pretty
turn
piece.
it
You
around.
don't have
Turn
to
it
show
around.
where it came
Okay.
from. So.
Thank
So
you very much.
I will just
Thank
put it
you.
here right now and put it in
Okay,
your car.
okay,
So
thanks.
make some picture maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Get up.
You want me to go sit like Stan did, I guess?
Yeah.
Come
that'd
on,
be great.
come on.
I think I sit like
Absolutely.
long enough that Ad Ducker quit moving.
That's here.
We do. Let's
Yep.
see, we'll get rid of that coffee.
Yep, set it over here. Set it over out of the way. Yep.
All right.
Come on. Hop up right there. Come on. Yep. You see?
Are you in there?
You got it?
Okay.
Say water.
Water.
We're gonna miss
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll miss you guys
Yeah,
too.
congratulations.
I mean, take it easy, I don't wanna ruin nothing
Well,
here.
we'll the city council.
I know.
Yeah,
It's good
yeah.
seeing you.
Yeah,
See
yeah.
you. Gonna miss you.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not gonna know.
Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
I won't, I'll come back.
Yeah.
I'll be out there in the public, I'll make my little public meeting and be.
There you go. Congratulations. Good. Yeah. Yeah, there's one. Yeah.
You're doing
You're
good.
Must
really
be
good.
the attic.
Yeah. Really good.
Has
Yeah.
it been 2 weeks, Sandy, or?
2 weeks today, yeah. I
2
had
weeks
the-
today.
How long?
Yeah, getting replaced, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah, getting
Oh.
replaced.
That makes
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
That is awesome, yeah. Okay. Congratulations, Sandy.
Thank you.
We appreciate all your work on the board for 12 years.
Yeah.
Great job.
I enjoyed every bit of it.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. Before we get to item number 13, anybody, board got questions for our general manager? Any of the things that she reported on? Okay, very good. We'll move to item 13, consider July 28th, 2025 for the next month, regular monthly meeting. That is the fourth Monday, which is our pattern, so I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make that motion.
Got a motion by Robin?
Second.
I got a second by Jack. All those supporting the motion to make July 28, 2025 our next regular monthly meeting date, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, got a motion by Robin and
Second.
Laura. Second by Laura. All those supporting the motion to adjourn, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it, motion carries. Very good. Thank you.
Jimmy.